Introductory briefing on labor and fire safety of employees of JSC/BSC. Introduction and general information. The joint stock company Bashkir Soda Company was established in May 2013 by merging soda and caustic, the two largest enterprises in Stерлitamak with a long and glorious history. As a result, one of the most powerful chemical complexes of our country was created. Thousands of enterprises and organizations across Russia and abroad consume the products of JSC/BSC. Successfully developing production and high-quality products help the company to establish a reputation of a reliable business partner. An important element of our enterprise's activity is the industrial safety, labor and health protection of our employees. The company has developed and implements a single policy in this area. It established the general procedure for organizing and conducting operations that are mandatory for all our employees. The life and health of each employee is important for us. Main provisions of labor protecting legislation. The relationship between the employer and the employee is determined by the employment contract. The contract is concluded with adult citizens who have reached the age of 18. The employment contract with an employee may be terminated due to the following reasons. The contract may be terminated for inaptitude to the position held or work performed, for repeated failure to perform, without good reason, employment duties in the presence of disciplinary sanctions, in case of absenteeism or a single gross violation, for appearing at work under the influence of alcohol, drugs or other intoxicants, for health reasons based on a medical report. Working hours and rest time. The standard working week is 40 hours. Besides, hazardous working conditions are assessed at workplaces. If, according to the results of such an assessment, working conditions belong to the third hazard class, then, in compliance with the regulations of the current legislation, the working week is reduced to 36 hours. Additionally, the company established a shorter working week for people under the age of 18, which is 36 hours. Overtime work is allowed only if it's absolutely necessary. At the same time, overtime work should not exceed 4 hours for 2 consecutive days and 120 hours per year. The rest time includes breaks during the shift, daily rest between shifts, lunch break, days off, and other non-working holidays, as well as annual leave. For working in hazardous conditions, it is possible to provide additional leave time. If lunch break is provided during the shift, then employees are entitled to additional breaks of up to 10 minutes, 2 times per shift. If a lunch break is not provided in the schedule, then employees are entitled to breaks of up to 15 minutes, 3 times per shift. Labor protection of women. The law additionally regulates the labor protection of women. In particular, it is prohibited to involve women in labor with difficult and harmful working conditions. Moreover, in case of manual handling of load, the marginal norm for women is 7 kilograms. If this work is alternated with another work, then this norm is increased up to 10 kilograms. Pregnant women or women with children under 2 cannot engage in night work, overtime work, weekend work, and be sent on business trips. Women who have children of 2 to 8 years should not be involved in overtime work or sent on business trip without their consent. Pregnant women and women with children under 1.5 years are transferred to easier work, which excludes the effects of dangerous and harmful factors. In addition, women with children under 1.5 years are provided with additional breaks for feeding the child. Internal Code of Conduct. The Internal Code of Labor Conduct governs the procedure for employee hiring and dismissal, the basic rights and obligations of the employee and the employer, working hours and the rest time, rewards and sanctions. The employee must timely and efficiently perform duties in accordance with the instructions and rules, observe discipline, comply with labor protection requirements, comply with industrial and fire safety rules, comply with the rules of the road, keep the workplace in order and clean, keep clean at the facilities and on the premises. The employee is also obliged to protect the property of the enterprise, strictly observe the rules of access control and internal regimes. Persons guilty of violating the rules are brought to disciplinary, administrative, material and criminal liability. Organization of labor protection activities. Ensuring safe working conditions is entrusted to the employer. Direct control over the implementation of norms and regulations in this area is carried out by the Occupational Health and Safety Department. Labor protection activity includes a whole range of measures from ensuring the safety of workers to the medical and preventive activities. In turn, the employee must comply with labor protection requirements, correctly apply personal and collective protective equipment, undergo training in safe working practices, undergo a probation period and test of knowledge in labor protection requirements, immediately notify the management about any situation threatening people's life and health, about every accident that happened at work or about the deterioration of a person's health, undergo mandatory preliminary and periodic medical examinations. General rules of conduct for employees. Persons of the age of 18 and older who have passed medical examination, introductory and primary briefing, labor protection training and the exam successfully are allowed to work independently. Before starting work, make sure that the equipment is in good working condition. Electric equipment must be earthed and moving parts must be securely enclosed. Service areas should have fencing to prevent a person from falling. There should be only necessary tools and devices at the workplace. Employees are required to perform their own work only. If you have questions about the safe working practices, you can contact our supervisor. Each production facility has its own characteristics. For this reason, entering a facility without need is prohibited. When working at another facility, it is necessary to notify the facility's administration and undergo target safety training. During the course of work, it is forbidden to admit to work persons who have not learned the labor protection instructions, as well as those who do not have access to independent work. It is strictly forbidden to work without overalls, special shoes and protective equipment, and in places where toxic substances are released without a gas mask. At the same time, you cannot leave your workplace on your own and without permission and hand over the shift to an intoxicated employee. During the course of work, it is forbidden to use hoisting mechanisms without having the right to operate them, carry out independent repair and startup of electrical equipment, use a faulty tool, apply open flame when cleaning the apparatus, work at heights on sites without fencing and without safety harnesses, drop tools and objects from a height or leave them on unshielded areas, stand under a hoisted load, work without faulty locking and safety devices, work in case of conductor and receiver insulation fault, work in the absence of grounding, remove protective fences from working mechanisms, operate them, use faulty stairs platforms. Also, while conducting work, it is forbidden to tighten the bolts of working mechanisms and communications under pressure. Do not lubricate equipment while in operation. In some cases, lubrication of equipment while in operation is allowed only if there are devices that ensure the safety of such operations. In facilities with increased gas contamination and dustiness, ventilation should work, and the operating instrumentation should be in good condition. When working with acids and alkalis, protective equipment must be used. Before supplying steam, it is necessary to check the serviceability of communication and remove people from the zone of possible steam release. All channels, gutters, hatches, pits must be securely closed. Do not forget about transport on the territory of the enterprise. You should go around the wagon at a minimum distance of 5 meters. Passage between wagons is permitted if they stand at least 10 meters apart. Getting under wagons and tankers is extremely dangerous and strictly forbidden. When moving up the stairs, make sure to follow simple precautions. Hold onto the railing. Do not step over stairs. Do not run up the stairs. Pay attention to unevenness on the floor and corners. Do not get distracted by your mobile phone or reading documents. Hazardous physical and chemical factors of production. Hazardous physical factors include work at electrical installations, work at height, work in tanks, work in apparatuses, work in wells, traffic, non-fast moving and rotating parts of equipment, sources of various radiation. Certain types of raw materials and finished products in the enterprise's facilities are toxic. There are explosive areas. Emission of such substances is possible during technological processes. In the soda production facilities, the following substances may be released. Features of the soda production: ammonia, colorless gas with a pungent smell, explosive when mixed with air. The maximum permissible concentration in the air is 20 mg per cubic meter. Carbon monoxide, odorless colorless gas. When inhaled, the process of oxygen exchange in the blood is disrupted, which leads to oxygen starvation. The maximum permissible concentration is 20 mg per cubic meter. Hydrogen sulfide, colorless gas with a characteristic smell of rotten eggs, heavier than air, explosive, strong poison. The maximum permissible concentration is 10 mg per cubic meter. Hydrochloric acid, colorless, transparent caustic liquid, fuming in air. If acid vapor enters the respiratory passage, it causes hoarseness, a choking sensation and coughing. The maximum permissible concentration is 5 mg per cubic meter. Lime and soda dust. Dust of burnt lime and soda. Contact with eyes and unprotected parts of the body causes burns, dermatitis, ulcers, and respiratory diseases. The maximum permissible concentration of soda dust in the air is 2 mg per cubic meter. Lime dust, 1 mg per cubic meter. Please especially note the dust of white soot and sodium silicate. Fine powder irritating to upper respiratory passages. The maximum permissible concentration is 1 mg per cubic meter. At the same time, the atmosphere in the caustic industrial premises may be polluted with dust, gases and vapors of the following substances. Features of the caustic production: chlorine, greenish-yellow gas with a specific choking odor, irritating to eyes, respiratory passages, can even cause pulmonary edema. The maximum permissible concentration in the air is 1 mg per cubic meter. Mercury, strong poison. Poisoning occurs through inhalation of mercury vapor. Chronic poisoning causes damage to the central nervous system and kidneys. The maximum permissible concentration is 0.01 mg per cubic meter. Vinyl chloride, colorless gas, drug, acts as an intoxicant. The maximum permissible concentration is 5 mg per cubic meter. Dichloroethane, colorless liquid, drug, causes dystrophic changes in the liver, kidneys and other organs, as well as corneal clouding. The maximum permissible concentration is 10 mg per cubic meter. Hydrogen chloride, colorless gas with a pungent smell. In the air, it forms a white fog of hydrochloric acid, irritating to upper respiratory passages. The maximum permissible concentration is 5 mg per cubic meter. Caustic soda. Solid white substance. Soluble in water, alcohol, glycerin. Contact with soft tissue causes burns that may leave scars. Damages nails. Contact with ice is especially dangerous. The maximum permissible concentration in the air is 0.5 mg per cubic meter. Please especially note methanol, methyl alcohol. Neurovascular poison smells and tastes like wine alcohol. The maximum permissible concentration in the air is 5 mg per cubic meter. The ingestion of methanol is especially dangerous. 5 to 10 grams of methanol cause severe poisoning and blindness. 30 grams and above is a lethal dose. Personal actions during chlorine wave. When caught in the chlorine wave on the street, the worker is required to put on a gas mask as soon as possible. In the absence of a gas mask, it is necessary to hold your breath as much as possible, covering your mouth and nose with a handkerchief. Leave the affected area as quick as possible. If you are inside the building, you must contact the shift supervisor. Inform the dispatcher by calling 5222 or 5225. It is necessary to act according to the emergency response plan. It is necessary to move perpendicular to the movement of the chlorine wave, wind direction. Electrical safety. Electric shock hazard arises from contact with electric wires or live parts of the equipment. The current up to 0.01 amperes is considered safe. A current of 0.1 amperes or more is fatal. Electrical safety is achieved by using safe voltage, protective and neutral grounding, protective shutdown, permanent and temporary fences, dielectric devices. Only electrical personnel can carry out work in electrical installations. While working, it is forbidden to touch any electrical wires and unshielded parts of electrical equipment. In case of found broken light sockets, switches, wires with damages installation, as well as in all cases of electric shock, it is necessary to inform the administration immediately. Occupational and personal sanitation. Each facility is equipped with a cloakroom for storing clothes and shoes, a room for drying overalls, women's personal hygiene rooms, toilets, showers, dining rooms, drinking water supply facilities. It is forbidden to drink water intended for technical needs. Before meals, wash your hands thoroughly with soap. Food should be taken only in canteens, buffets and dining rooms. After finishing work, it is necessary to take a shower and change clothes, and leave overalls and safety shoes in the locker room. Collective and personal protective equipment. Personal protective equipment includes special overalls and shoes, head protection, helmet, eye protection, glasses, protective shields, respiratory protection equipment, gas mask, respirators, hand protection, gloves, hearing protection, earplugs, headphones, fall protection equipment, safety harnesses, and other protective equipment. Collective protective equipment includes fencing, supply and exhaust ventilation, warning posters and labels, safety signs, automatic alarm and protection devices, fire safety. Every employee must know and abide by the fire safety rules, be able to use fire extinguishing equipment and be trained in the fire safety basics. Combustible and flammable liquids present the greatest danger. The dust of organic substances that can form explosive mixtures also present a significant danger. To prevent a fire, strict adherence to a set of measures is necessary. In particular, it is forbidden to store fuel and lubricants in excess of their daily requirements in production facilities. Spilled fuel must be covered with sand, sawdust, and then be disposed of. Incineration of industrial waste is prohibited. Smoking is allowed only in especially equipped places. The use of electric heaters is allowed only with written permission. Explore evacuation plans located on each floor in advance. In addition, in the corridors, there are signs and labels indicating the directions to the evacuation exits. In the event of an emergency, such as fire and smoke, report the incident immediately to your immediate supervisor. Please remember emergency numbers. At the Soda premises, 3473 29 76 01, 3473 28 52 01, 6184 and 01. At the Caustic premises, 2001 and 2017. If you hear an alarm, keep calm, follow the instructions, take personal items and immediately head to the nearest evacuation exit. For evacuation, use the stairs only. Go outside and head to the meeting point. First aid. The employees are required to undergo first aid training. In the event of an accident, the employer is obliged to organize first aid to victims and, if necessary, take them to a medical organization. First aid procedure. Free the victim from exposure to the damaging factor, electric current, chemicals. Assess the condition of the victim. Remove tight clothing. And if necessary, take the victim to fresh air. Expose damaged areas carefully. Determine the nature and extent of damage, and decide on emergency measures. Rescue measures in order of urgency. Restore breathing. Stop the bleeding. Immobilize the fracture site. Apply a bandage. Then, while supporting the basic life functions of the victim, call medical personnel and prepare the person for transportation. Telephone of the Soda Health Center 3473 29 76 03, 3473 29 74 35. Telephone of the Caustic Health Center 3473 29 57 07, 987 481 60 61 and 2003. In case of injury, do not clean the wound with water or medical substances, or cover it with powders or ointments. Do not remove sand and blood clots from the surface of the wound. The wound should be covered only with sterile material. To stop bleeding, fold the bandage into a tampon and use it to press the wound down. In case of heavy arterial bleeding, squeeze blood vessels with your fingers, tie a tourniquet, or stem the bleeding by bending the limbs in the joints. Do not touch the burns with your hands. The burn surface must be freed from clothing. Cover it with sterile material, then cover it with a layer of cotton wool, and everything must be fastened with a bandage. Do not tear blisters or tear off burned pieces of clothing. If you have headache or nausea, you need to go out into the fresh air. In case of chemical acid alkalis burns, flush the affected area with plenty of water. In case of contact with chemicals, immediately flush the area with water for 15 to 20 minutes. The nature of first aid depends on the victim's condition. If the person is conscious, protect them from cooling, let them smell liquid ammonia, and keep them calm. If the victim lost consciousness, it is necessary to unfasten tight clothing, provide air inflow, let the person smell ammonia, spray them with water, cover them warm. If the victim breathes rarely, spasmodically, resuscitation is necessary. In case of electric shock, it is necessary to quickly free the victim from the current. Turn off the power source or cut the wires. Touching the affected person is dangerous. Therefore, you need to wear rubber gloves. Stand on a rubber mat or dry board. You can only touch dry clothes. And you can disconnect the voltage source with a dry pole or stick. General rules of conduct for contractors on the premises of JSC/BSC. The requirements of access control and internal regimes are mandatory for all third parties located on the territory of the company, including the employees of contractors and those who arrive to receive products or with other purposes. On the premises, you are not allowed to drink alcohol, start work in a state of alcohol or drug intoxication, or under the influence of medication containing narcotic, toxic, and intoxicating substances. Photography and video shooting on the territory of the enterprise are prohibited. Smoking is allowed only in specially designed and equipped places. If injured, the contractor may contact the health center located on the premises. To provide the sanitary facilities for the workers, there are equipped lockers for storing clothes and personal items, toilets, wash basins, rooms for personal hygiene, designated places for drinking water. Meals are provided in canteens and dining rooms. Responsibility for violation of access control and internal regimes by employees of third-party organizations rests with the organization under the agreement with which these employees were allowed in the territory of our enterprise. In case of such violations, penalties are imposed on the relevant employee of third-party organization in accordance with the terms of the contract. Remember, knowledge and compliance with the rules and norms of labor protection, industrial and fire safety is not a simple formality. Your life and health, as well as the life and health of your colleagues, depend on your correct actions in the work process. Follow safety rules. Take care of yourself. We wish you success in your work.